Ago. For more, let's welcome in former Green Beret and Florida Congressman representing the 6th Congressional District, Michael Waltz, back with us. Congressman, great to have you on. People the world over have fallen in love with the president of Ukraine over the last 72 hours. President Zelensky, 44 years old, father of two. He has remained behind in Kyiv. He had a quote, and I thought of you. He said, Joe Biden apparently offered him a plane ride out of Ukraine a week and a half ago. He said, the fight's here. We need ammunition. I don't need a ride. What do you make of the way the world is reacting to what's happening in Ukraine?
And particularly when you're making life or death decisions, do I stay and fight or do I flee with my family? That's not an easy decision for anyone. But when you see your head of state, when you see your president, when you see your leader taking such a brave stand with his family also still in Ukraine and also exposed, that makes a difference. And who would have thought? I mean, this guy was a late night comedian. This would be like, right, I don't know, a Jimmy Kimmel or someone suddenly becoming president. I certainly am confident in saying that Putin underestimated him, did not take him seriously, and thought it would be relatively easy to knock him off and put his own puppet in place. And we're seeing the results of that miscalculation now.
So how does this play out this week? Putin has been embarrassed over the last 5 days. What happens next?
Yeah. Well, I'm worried for the Ukrainian people because Russian and Soviet doctrine, if these type of lightning blitzkrieg decapitation strategies don't work, historically, they've shifted to a scorched earth strategy. Right. We're starting to see that already in Kharkiv, Ukraine's second largest city, where they're firing indiscriminately mass rocket attacks into the city and causing civilian casualties. Another tactic of the Russians is to weaponize refugees to cause panic amongst the civilian population, and we're starting to see that as well. So as Putin gets backed more and more into a corner, he can't lose domestically for his own power base, given that he's put about 75% of his military into this, and it's his international and domestic prestige. So he's going to double and triple down and do whatever it takes. And I think that's going to be, I fear, that is going to be devastating for Ukraine, for their cities, and for their future.
So you're a former Green Beret. That city, Kharkiv, located northeast Ukraine, about 1.5 million people. That's the size of Miami. So we're not talking about a small city. Are you saying that this week Putin could go from more targeted bombings and shelling to indiscriminate leveling of cities?
That's exactly what I'm saying, and that's what I fear. And if we'll see what came of these peace talks. Zelensky wasn't optimistic, nor was I. Right. And what we'll see is an escalation after these talks, so that Putin will have the narrative, well, I tried a peaceful path, but then he goes all in. On the flip side of that, you need three things for a successful insurgency for guerrilla warfare. You need the will to fight. We're seeing that clearly. You need the resources. They haven't been moving fast enough from the West or from the United States, but they're starting to flow. Right. They'll have to move over land now, which means you need a sanctuary. And that sanctuary logistically will have to be in Poland and Romania. I believe they'll step up to do that, but it also that starting to very seriously involve a NATO country. And if Putin takes action to stop those flow of arms and goods, first aid, and elsewhere at the Polish border, that could get very dicey very quickly.
Congressman, come back and see us as the week develops. Very scary situation that we could be going into right now. That is Congressman Michael Waltz of the great state of Florida. Sir, good to see you. Thank you.